Hi, my name is Jed Felker, and today I'm going to be explaining the process of building a PC. So, the first thing in the step of your build is I would try to determine why you're building a PC, determine the purpose of your build. There's a lot of different things. If you're doing it mainly for you want it to work on for work, then there's certain things that you want to focus on. I built mine with gaming in mind, and that's why I focused on graphics, good GPU, good monitor, stuff like that. But obviously, if you're not going to play games on your computer, then that's not going to be a concern for you. The next, I would get a list of parts. I got a list here made for you, just like stuff that you're going to need. There's the case, the motherboard, the CPU cooler, storage, RAM, power supply, fans, and the GPU. A couple things. RAM, I'm pretty sure standard for like everyone that builds a PC is about 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's a pretty good sweet spot. Storage, I have 2.5 terabytes of storage, and that seems like a pretty good amount. I use that pretty well. CPU cooler, you want to make sure it fits inside your case. Mine barely does, and I'm really happy about that because my CPU cooler is huge. And that, oh yeah, and then fans, depending on what case you get, sometimes fans will come with it and sometimes they won't, so that's something to keep in mind. And then making sure all your components are compatible together. There is a website that I highly recommend using if you're building a PC. It's called PCPartPicker.com. It'll literally give you options for stuff to build with, and it'll tell you if it's compatible or not. So it's a really, really, really helpful website. And then the last thing is, if you're unsure of something while you're putting everything together, please, please, please ask for help, or look up a YouTube video or something. Don't try and do it yourself, because if you mess up one thing, a bunch of different things could go wrong and it could be very expensive. So please, if you're unsure of something, ask for help. But other than that, building a PC is a very fun activity. I had a lot of fun building mine, so I highly recommend it to anybody in the tech field if you have the money to do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you. Bye. So added on to this, I just wanted to show you guys my PC build. This is it right here. As you can see, that right there. Here, I'll pull this. There's a front panel on this, and we can pull that off. But yeah, as you can see here, this is my CPU cooler. It is massive. It just barely meets the threshold of fitting inside the case. Everything is connected back here. This is the motherboard. Motherboard is the first thing you usually want to put in. And then right here is my 2 sticks of RAM. Behind this is my CPU. The CPU is a very small square. This sits on top of it to make sure the CPU doesn't overheat. This right here is the graphics card. I have an RTX 3060 EVGA. It's pretty good. I have no trouble running any games at full graphics settings, but obviously, like I said before, if you're not wanting to do games, then this isn't the most important thing. You could probably get a lesser graphics card. Behind my graphics card, I think it's back here, I have an M.2 storage, 2.5 terabytes. You can either do that or you can do an SSD. SSDs go on the back side of the case and connect to the motherboard. Right here, my 2 fans. See, they're spinning with all their glory. And that's pretty much it. On the back, don't worry about my cable management. On the back here is all your connections. Power supply is down here. Forgot about that. The power supply goes through the back and sits in the bottom. But yeah, and then highly recommend not using HDMI and using DisplayPort because it's just better altogether. But yeah, there's my PC.